Hello, everybody, and welcome to Case Corner. I am so grateful that you're here and that you have spent a few minutes to watch this video. Today, I'll be talking about PMS, Premenstrual Syndrome. This is something that happens to some women at some point in their menstrual cycle. It could be mild or moderate, but it could also be really serious, very severe for some women, and it just causes them to kind of shut down. They're not able to do anything. And so today, I'm going to look at PMS and I'll be explaining quite a number of things about it. So you sit tight with me and let's dive in. Welcome back. Today I am talking about PMS, and in case you're joining me for the first time, my name is Karen and I'm just looking at what PMS is, why women come down with PMS, who is most likely to come down with PMS, and how you can recognize PMS, and many other things about PMS, premenstrual syndrome. That's what I'm talking about today. So let's start with this topic. It's really something which is important because a lot of women suffer with PMS sometimes and they don't know what to do about it. They just think, oh, it's one of those things that happen when we have our periods. You know, there's no help, but it's important to recognize it and really just see if there's something which can be done, if you can seek medical help, or if it's something which you can manage by yourself. But the important thing is that you get to know what PMS is and how to recognize it so you can seek some help. So what is PMS? Premenstrual syndrome. That is what we abbreviate as PMS. It's a group of symptoms, and that's why it's called a syndrome. It's a group of symptoms that happen to women during their cycle. So you have physical symptoms, you have emotional symptoms, you even have behavioral symptoms, and they come together as a full package. You know, at the same time the woman is having physical symptoms, she's also having behavioral or emotional symptoms. The whole thing, you know, just comes together, and women experience PMS in different degrees. So could be mild, could be moderate, but could be severe. And when it's severe, the woman just cannot function. She can't do anything. She's not well. She's technically not well. Now, what causes PMS? PMS generally is caused by hormonal interactions and hormonal imbalances at some point during the menstrual cycle. And generally, some point here usually means 2 weeks before the period starts. And 2 weeks before period starts is technically ovulation. So I'm just going to explain to you a little bit what happens around ovulation so you understand why women have PMS. There's a video which I've done, and I'll link it in the description, that explains the whole hormonal interactions, but I'll just summarize it for you. All right, so generally 2 weeks before your periods, you are ovulating. Now, ovulation means that the egg which is mature in the ovary has been released. This egg gets matured and is released under the influence of luteinizing hormone. All right, so there's already luteinizing hormone that is at play here. Then, as the egg gets released, the remaining cell where that egg was now turns into the corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum starts to secrete progesterone in massive quantities. So then we have progesterone. Then this egg does not get fertilized, corpus luteum degenerates, progesterone starts going down, estrogen starts going up under the influence of follicle stimulating hormone. So you have estrogen coming into the play, you have follicle stimulating hormone coming into the game. So you discover that there's quite a lot of hormonal interactions going on, and sometimes there's imbalances in terms of the quantity of hormones released, in terms of the interactions of the hormones, and all of this generally is what is thought to be responsible for PMS in women. Generally, PMS would be at its peak at ovulation, so 2 weeks before periods, and then it could get worse as the days go by, but then suddenly gets better when the woman has her periods. And it's very easy to understand that. So when you have your periods, this whole cycle that was at its peak has come down and a new one is starting. So usually when PMS is mild or is moderate, you technically don't have too much to do. It's when it gets really serious that you may be needing medical help, because there may be underlying conditions that are kind of fanning the flames of PMS for you. Now, what are the symptoms of PMS? Like I said at the beginning, PMS has physical symptoms, has emotional symptoms, and has behavioral symptoms. So let's look at the emotional symptoms of PMS. The first one will be mood swings. And mood swings is the most common one, I would say. So the woman is happy one minute, very chatty and all smiley, but the next minute she's moody, she's sad, and then she goes back to being happy, goes back to being moody. She's just all over the place with her moods. All right, so that's one of it. The next one is outburst of anger and irritability. So irritability means that she gets angry at the slightest thing. Like, it's very easy to get her provoked. Sometimes she's not able to say why exactly she's angry, but you just notice that she gets angry at the slightest provocation or at the slightest thing. The things that she would normally have tolerated, no way, she's not tolerating them now. All right, another one would be depression. So women just get depressed, they feel really sad, and that is also associated to crying. The woman could just be crying and you cannot really tell why she's crying. And funnily enough, she herself sometimes doesn't know why she's crying. It's not like the tears just come. She feels really sad about something, which unfortunately sometimes she cannot put her finger on it. So she wakes up in the morning and just tells you, I feel really sad, I feel really moody. That is if she's even able to tell you, because sometimes she wouldn't say anything. You just notice that she's sad, she is moody, and she's even crying. And she could really be like in real tears. It's really serious to her. And the people around her sometimes may not understand what's going on, but for her, there's something really serious going on. Even if she can't explain it, and even if she can't put her finger on it, it's a serious thing which is going on in her mind. There's also difficulty in concentrating, and this is really important for the women who work, or for the girls who are studying, for the ladies who are studying. You just find it difficult to focus or difficult to concentrate on a task. Your mind is all over the place and you're thinking about so many things at the same time, yet not thinking about anything in particular. And because of that, you find it difficult to focus. And this is really important because it could affect the quality of your work and it could affect the quality of your studies. But once you know that this is down to PMS, it can help you make some adjustments. Another emotional symptom is withdrawal, social withdrawal. All right, so the women just want to be by themselves. They don't want anybody around them. For the women who have children or who are in a family setting, they could just wake up early in the morning, do all the things which they have to do, their cooking, their cleaning, and all of that. But they try and do it really quickly and then just go up to their bedrooms and that's it. Or they sit in the lounge and they're watching TV or something like that, but they don't want anybody around them. They just want to be by themselves. And in the worst case scenario, there are women who just don't go out. They just stay indoors. They're not talking to anybody. They just by themselves, So again, like I said, sometimes the women themselves can't explain this, especially if they do not understand that it's down to PMS. So it's even worse for the people who are around them. And then you have the women who come down with panic attacks. And with the panic attacks, you see the woman actually shivering. She's really panicky. You can technically see signs of anxiety. She's sweating. Her palms are all, wet with sweat. She's kind of really scared of something, And this panic attack could come with headaches. It could come with increased heartbeat. And guess what? All of it is down to PMS. And so if the woman doesn't understand that this is PMS that is ongoing, it could be interpreted as something which is more serious than what it really is, or taken light for something which is very serious. So it's really important that you know that some women have real panic attacks when they have PMS. Now let's move on to the physical symptoms. The physical symptoms of PMS mimic, or they kind of copy the symptoms that you normally have when you have periods, only that they get exaggerated a little bit, especially if the PMS is severe. So you have the headaches. Of course, the headaches could be fueled by the panic attacks, but you could also have headaches in isolation. And then you have the waist pain, serious cramps in the lower abdominal region. You have engorgement of the breast. You see women who have breasts that are engorged there. You have breakouts on the face. For the women who already have breakouts, it becomes a bit more. And for the women who don't have breakouts or they don't have pimples, they just see this one or two isolated pimples or breakouts there. Very painful to touch, honestly, and it's just poking there, it's just standing there. And then you have the abdominal bloatedness. Women kind of feel like they're bloated, like they've eaten a lot, meanwhile sometimes they really haven't eaten. And an important one is a sleep disturbance. A lot of women find it difficult to sleep, especially when they have PMS. You're just turning and tossing in bed all night, you're not able to sleep. Sometimes it's also because of the difficulty in concentrating, because your mind is all over the place, then you just can't sleep. There's a video which I'm going to link in the description on how to have good sleep when you're on your periods. That video will help you to have some good sleep when you're on your periods, but also if you have PMS. Then there's the fatigue. Women get so tired. You also have digestive issues, like women could either be constipated or could have diarrhea, but there's also appetite issues. So there's some women who lost appetite when they have PMS, like during their periods, they just can't eat. And the danger here is the fact that because they're not eating, sometimes they're not drinking. And if they're not drinking, then they could easily get dehydrated. Remember that with periods, you have to drink. You really have to be drinking. But then if you lose appetite for food and for drinks because of PMS, then the symptoms just get worse. But the flip side of it is that there are women who actually gain appetite. So they eat any and everything. They just have this craving for any and everything when they have their periods or when they have PMS, you know. And because of that, they gain a little bit of weight. All right, so those are some of the signs that you have when a woman has got PMS. Like I said, they are the usual things that will happen when a woman has got her periods, but with PMS, the symptoms get exaggerated. The behavioral symptoms obviously are linked to the emotional symptoms. So generally just the way the woman behaves around. And I just want to say here that it's really important that you understand what PMS is, because for the women in your lives, you may not just understand why they're behaving the way they are behaving, and you may think that they're just changing their behavior or they're just being unkind or being selfish and things like that. That's not it. They're actually going through some things. Sometimes they themselves cannot understand what's happening and they really need the support from the people all around them. But it gets really better when you understand that, oh, this is PMS. You'll be able to manage it. So sometimes you see other things like clumsiness. And this one, you just discover that things are falling off your hands. It's not a coincidence. And sometimes it's difficult to think that, no, it's not intentional, but it's also not a coincidence. You just get clumsy. You know, you trip over things very easily. Things fall off your hands very easily. You know, you're nearly falling or you're actually falling, you know, and you just don't understand what's going on. All right, so that's PMS for you. Another thing is a lack of libido. So with all of the things going on, you could have a reduced libido, or you just don't want to have any sexual intimacy. And obviously your partner or your husband or your boyfriend could be wondering what in the world is going on here. You know, it's basically because the woman has got PMS. There's a lot that is going on there. Hormones are playing all around her body and sometimes just makes her not understand her own self. So it's important that you understand that these things happen to women and offer the support. If there's one thing you need to take away from this video, is the fact that the girls around you, the women around you, the women in your lives need support, because some of them have PMS and even they themselves don't understand what's going on with them. And so it's important that you understand them and give them the support which they need, whether it's in terms of just facilitating that they have those things which they need, or facilitating that they have some medical help, or really just teaching these things to them as well, so that they understand their own bodies and they know when to seek medical help. Now, it's important that you know who is most likely to come down with PMS. There is a chance that every woman who menstruates can come down with PMS. However, there are predisposing factors. There are some things that could make you more likely to come down with PMS. One of them is just the age. So for women who are older, so in the 30s and the 40s, they're more likely to have PMS than the younger girls. So just to know that. And a second one is a family history. So if you have a sister who's had PMS, your mom has had PMS, or grandma had PMS, or somebody in the close family has got PMS, there is a chance, that you too could come down with PMS. So for those women who already have a history of mood disorders, so you have women who already have depression issues, they already have issues with anxiety, they already have panic disorders, there is a chance that they could have PMS at some stage in their menstrual cycle. And with this group of women, the symptoms are worse than usual, because it will be like an exaggeration of those symptoms which they already normally have. So the fourth factor that could contribute to having PMS is lifestyle factors. So you have the group of women, for example, who lack exercise. If you're not doing any exercise, or you're taking high levels of alcohol, or you have a lot of stress in your life at a certain time, or you smoke, or you have a poor diet, those things could contribute to the fact that you come down with PMS. Also looking at poor sleep hygiene. So if generally you have a poor sleep hygiene, so you don't sleep well, you know that during your periods, sleep could just be a difficult issue for you. And obviously if you're not sleeping well, then you come down with headaches, and then the whole cycle of things will start. So it's really important that you look at your lifestyle when it comes to PMS. In my next video, I'll be talking about how to manage PMS, both the things which you can do by yourself at home, but also at what points you need to seek medical attention. And just to note here that PMS, like I said at the beginning, can be mild and moderate, which you can manage at home, but it can get very severe, and you can never tell whether it's just the PMS by itself that is severe, or whether there's an underlying condition that is making the PMS severe. And so at some point you may need to seek medical attention, and I'll be telling you about that. Now that you have quite some information about PMS, why not watch this video which I've linked here? It's a video to teach you how to have good sleep during your period, or if you have PMS, that video is going to help you with sleep. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.